Just like with older amps, instruments, and analog gear, newer isn't always better. That's why some plugins, regardless of when they were released or if their code is antiquated, are still incredibly useful and sound fantastic. So let's take a look at some plugins that have been around for over a decade, some 2 decades, and look behind the scenes to find out what makes them the best old audio plugins. Starting off, let's talk about the Oxford Inflator. Released in 2007, this plugin is just as relevant today as it was nearly 20 years ago. Its premise is simple, but at the time, how it achieved loudness was incredibly unique. Instead of pushing the signal into a ceiling, it prioritized quieter signals and amplified those and those alone. The result is subtle wave shaping from the noise floor up, resulting in a detailed and nuanced sound while retaining peaks. While observing the dynamics, we'll notice how the signal is amplified from the noise floor up, meaning everything that was being masked by the peaks and louder signals is a lot easier to hear. By increasing the loudness of this range, the overall signal becomes louder without peak attenuation. Now, if you want to shape the peaks, you could if you enable soft clipping. The positive value results in greater low-level amplification and harmonic distortion, while negative is solely harmonic distortion. While a blend between the two is possible to find the right balance for the signal. Now, if you don't want to download the original, there is a free remake called JS Inflator, which could be downloaded from GitHub. So let's take a listen to it, even though I'm sure a lot of you have heard this one before. Next up, we have PSP Vintage Warmer 2. The original Vintage Warmer came out to great reception in 2002, but the follow-up, Vintage Warmer 2, is considered a perfect encapsulation of the often sought-after analog warmth. It serves as a limiter when using the drive dial, an upward processor, similar to the Oxford Inflator when adjusting the knee function, and a multi-band or single-band saturation plugin. Aside from the versatility, what stands out about this plugin are the harmonics. Whereas most introduce very orderly harmonics, ascending in frequency while descending in amplitude, Vintage Warmer 2 seems to introduce as many overtones and harmonics as possible. The result is an incredibly dense sound when paired with the tone-shaping 2-band EQ, variable release times for each band, and variable saturation amounts for each band. PSP might be the only analog emulation plugin that most engineers need. And of course, oversampling helps retain the high range by avoiding aliasing distortion. Now, it's my personal favorite on this list, but I want to know what you all think about it and what you use it for. Let's take a listen to it using it on a drum bus and notice how it brings so much forward while creating a super dense sound. Next up, let's talk about Limiter number 6. So Limiter number 6 is a free compressor, multiband limiter, and clipper released under Tokyo Dawn Labs. Now, when all of these functions are combined, it's easily one of the best sounding limiters available. The highlights include the variable limiting modes, speeds, release and attack shapes, and how these feed into the high frequency limiter and clipper. The result is an aggressive and punchy sound, one that might be too aggressive for most genres if it's not carefully controlled. The limiter shapes peaks a fair amount, resulting in a good deal of distortion, but again, if it sounds good, it's really not too concerning. Lastly, the linear phase mode, mixed with oversampling, can help tame some of the aggression, so I definitely still recommend this plugin to anybody who hasn't tried it yet. Let's take a listen to it. I'm going to push it pretty hard so that we can hear how it distorts the signal, but not in an unpleasant way. Next up, let's talk about Presswork. So it's hard to believe that Presswork is over 10 years old. Its design and sound both feel modern, meanwhile the compressor's features are still the most comprehensive that I've seen in a plugin. So much so that it's still the only plugin I know of that offers analog emulated nonlinearity, that being the output of the compressor after the threshold has been crossed. Now, some additional features include pre- and post-compression saturation, dual-phase rotation, which uses phase cancellation to subtly attenuate high frequencies, RMS detection, and adaptive release. The variable views make it a lot easier to get started, each one combining the best features of the plugin for a particular purpose, such as a drum bus, vocals, and so on. But by far my favorite feature of this plugin is delinked mid-side compression, making it a fantastic tool for stereo expansion. Either I can compress the mid image but not the side, or compress the side and then add auto makeup gain to achieve a dynamically wide and impressive image. Let's take a listen to the plugin. Real quick, Sage Audio is an all-analog mastering studio. We've been around for 20 years and mastering starts at $49 per track. There's a link in the description and more info at the end of the video if you're interested. Next, I'm going to cheat a little bit so that I can talk about the Weiss DS1 Mark III. So the plugin was released a few years ago. However, the code that it uses is a one-to-one copy of the original digital unit, which was released in 2008 with 2 versions coming out before that. At the time, the processing was too complex for a consumer computer to handle, meaning it needed an independent processor to run it, hence the physical unit. Now it could be recreated using the same code, but with a computer while running other processing. Although this compressor is considered clean sounding, it's actually far from it. The processing heavily distorts the signal, not in a bad way, but in a manner that has a really distinct timbre. It's perfect for de-essing, parallel compression, mid-side compression, and of course, mastering. Let's take a listen to it on a stereo mix with a few dB of attenuation and then some makeup gain. Next up, let's cover Oxford Reverb. Originally Sony Oxford Reverb, this plugin is probably the most overlooked reverb plugin that's out there. It's understandable why. It's a 20-year-old plugin that's still over $300, but if you can get it on sale, I'd absolutely recommend it. Its design is dated, but its sound is as close to hardware units from the 80s and 90s that I've heard, even beating out impulse responses of those units. Whereas other popular algorithmic reverbs focus on ease of use, this one adds as many features as possible, and it expects the user to take the time to figure it out. Now, if you get the demo of this one, start with the presets. I haven't been able to find better room emulation since the control of early reflections, an often overlooked aspect of reverb plugins, is incredibly comprehensive here. Let's take a listen to a couple of presets ranging from short to long decay times. Last up, let's cover Voxengo Elephant. So this is the best limiter plugin that's available today, and it's been that way since the mid-2000s when it was released. Well known for their free plugins like Span and MSED, Voxengo has always been an outlier in audio production. On the surface, they seem like another small developer, but their plugins are truly something special. Elephant is perhaps the best example of this, whereas FabFilters Pro L popularized limiting algorithms in the 2010s, Voxengo had already perfected it 10 years earlier. Not only could users select the best algorithm for the source material, they could fine-tune every aspect of the attenuation. The results range from purposely distorted and wave-shaped transients to incredibly transparent attenuation without any audible pumping. So let's take a listen to some of the algorithms. I'll introduce aggressive limiting, and notice how well it retains the original timbre. Get professional analog mastering that accurately translates what you hear in your head. Seriously though, when people work with us, they get results. That's why major industry professionals like Keith Urban's producer Aaron Schurz works with us, Grammy award-winning AJ Castillo, Billboard #1 charted artist Megan Lindsay, Grammy award-winning artist Tulis, The Voice singer Cody Ballou, Grammy-nominated producer Tyler Kane, Warner Music artist Ricky Young, and the list goes on. Why waste your time creating masters that don't accurately translate what you hear in your head when you could instantly fix a problem by clicking the link in the description and working directly with professionals who have already done what you're trying to do. We've mastered thousands of songs that accurately translate what each client hears in their head, and it'll work for you too. Click the link in the description now and get direct access to us for personalized analog mastering that accurately translates what you hear in your head.